Welcome to Tetra, the easy tinker's construct with way less structures and a bit more interesting on the concept itself. Okay guys, and firstly you need to forget everything you know about tool progressing mods. Tetra is quite different. To combine your tools with higher tiered materials, you need a hammer to upgrade, and that one has tiers as well. So today I will firstly teach you how to get to the end game hammer. How to start. Craft yourself a wooden hammer, then place down a crafting table and right click with the hammer. You acquired the crafting workbench of Tetra. Now we can start crafting hammers. Firstly, the wooden one is tier 1, you already acquired that one. Tier 2 is stone, it can be normally crafted in a crafting table. Now to tier 3, it is made out of iron. Have 2 stone hammers in your inventory and place one of them in the crafting station. Select the head, either left or right, and add 2 iron ingots. After you selected craft, you will see the stone hammer will lose durability as he is needed to forge this material. Now to the 4th hammer. The same process, but this time instead of iron, it is blackstone. From now on, it's a bit more complicated, as you need to find a specific structure deep down in caves. These only spawn in cold or mountainous biomes. There are different variants. The one you need contains the forged hammer in the middle, as this one will forge your hammers for you. To make it easier, you can upgrade the holosphere that is granted to you after you created a wooden or stone hammer and add an Eye of Ender to it. It allows you to use it as a scanner, making it easier to find these structures. It uses a moaning sound to indicate if the direction you are looking to has a structure nearby. It will also be displayed with the orange color on top. You can make it snooze with shift right click. Now I have to interrupt as this part won't unfortunately work if you have shaders installed. Normally if you hover over these crates, it will indicate which tools you use to open it. I tried it with a couple of my shaders as every time it would just go white. If you can just disable it for this part and as soon as you're home, re-enable it. If you have 2 tier 4 hammers, you can use one to add a claw upgrade on one side. This allows you to pry things open. Just select one of the head sides, claw, and you will have your very handmade crowbar hammer. Now hover over these parts and you can either open it with hammers or crowbar style. During your exploration you will find a ton of different upgrading materials. These will be covered later. What you want to find currently are thermal cores. Hover over it and you will see it's not fully charged. Now you need to find a core extractor to charge it. It looks like this. Equip it with the core and fiddle around the button to let it do its thing. Now go back to your forge hammer and equip it with the cores. Sometimes, if you're lucky, it already comes with a fully charged core. As you finally think you're able to upgrade your hammer, you probably ran out of integrity. That means it's used all of its skill points to be upgraded. If you change the handle or the binding, some materials add more or less integrity. A very easy material that doesn't require any other new tools is the structure beam. It can be looted, as it adds 6 more integrity and only requires tier 1 hammer. As well, try to find a combustion chamber, as this increases the tier of the forged hammer by 1. Beware, this can set nearby blocks on fire. And finally, we can now create the tier 5 hammer, obsidian. Occasionally, your forged hammer can look like this. It has a jam. Just right-click it with an at least tier 4 hammer. To now be able to create the last and final hammer, you need to find another combustion chamber, meaning both upgrades on the forge just increase it by 1 tier. That allows you to create the netherite hammer. Hammer upgrades. Before moving on to materials and their special traits, let's firstly look at different upgrades your forge hammer can get. In total, there are 4 different upgrades you can find in containers. The insulated plate that increases efficiency, combustion chambers that increase the tier by 1, and the lubricant dispensers which decrease the chance of a jam by 50%. Planar stabilizers will slightly improve the stats of the item. Geode. Material uses items found in geodes. What are geodes? Small stones you can find in deepest depths while mining. The block that contains geodes looks the same as normal stone, so there isn't a way to differentiate between them. You can just strip mine. They can be opened with a tier 2 hammer to be able to obtain the hidden secrets from within. Out of these you can get normal valuables, but as well pristine ores. You can break these down for normal materials. Basically, pristine materials are just the better and way rarer version of the normal one. Honing. You may have noticed this small level bar on your tools if you hold Shift. This is your honing level. Every time you use your tool, it will increase its experience. Once it's filled, you can hone it at a workstation. It can increase one of its major modules, meaning major traits. With the hammer, it's durability and speed. With pickaxe, there are different abilities. Every time you hone it, the level resets. And you can start again. Settled and arrested. And during our journey with different materials, you will find some that have the trait settled after a while you use your tool. This means that the full potential of this material hasn't been released yet. It needs to be used more to fully unlock all abilities. If a material is arrested, it won't give you any extra buffs after you used it for a longer time. Repairing! You can repair your tool by clicking on the button Repair. Watch out, you have the required hammer available. Rack. Place a rack next to your workbench where you can store tools needed for crafting, making them accessible for any nearby workbench. Materials explained with double-headed tools. As we already started with hammers or double-headed, we shall finish the different materials for it. You can view all of the materials you can use within the holosphere. Double-headed contains CX. If you add 2 X heads, you create a double X which does more attack damage. Pickaxe, hoe, and the already known claw and hammer. Toolbelts can be added on one side to make your attack a bit faster. Firstly, you can decide for your head. Each side is customizable. Here you can as well decide which tool your equipment piece will be. You can use multiple materials like planks, stone, metal and such. Always check your holosphere for materials that can be used. If you select one material and hover over the next one, it compares both of them. One-sided tools like hoes don't need to be on both sides to increase their tier. I won't ramble on and on about the different materials because you can just decide for yourself. The only resource worth noting is gold, because it has magic capacity and stability. Magic capacity lets you have more enchants at once, and stability increases the efficiency of your major modules, meaning the basic abilities such as with pickaxe, mining speed. Handles are always used to increase your integrity, and some even have negative effects. With blaze rods, there's a chance that you are set on fire, less likely in cold biomes. The end rod which angers Enderman and has a chance to teleport you when Enderman teleport. Now to the binding. For this you need a sword or a cutting device. Just modify your normal sword to a short blade and it allows you to modify binding. The only feature worth noting is if you kill the Ender Dragon, you will be granted Dragon Sinew. This can be used as binding. It doesn't come with any traits, but 6 integrity. All of these can be used with handle wrapping to reduce negative effects such as blazing from a blaze rod handle. You can even add a bolt, and you may ask why you should use it, as it adds only a bit durability and reduces speed. Well, if you go into the tweak tab of the bolt, you can actually tweak its tightness, adding, removing durability or efficiency. In the binding, there's also a socket gem. Here pristine gems have an important role. Use normal or pristine lapis to increase the ratio your honing level fills in. With pristine, you do that 2 times the normal speed. Diamond increases the efficiency of all tools as well as the durability. Emerald is very special. It has the chance either with 15 or 30% with pristine to deal 200% damage, instantly break blocks or make effects 200% more effective. Single-headed. Single-headed tools are only shovel and spears. The materials are the same, the only difference is with the handles. You can choose from basic handle and light or long. Light handles lets you throw the weapon, but in exchange has less durability. Long handles increase reach. Bows. Materials for stave are wood and metal. You can as well make makeshift bows out of sticks. There are 3 different types of bows. Longbows draw slower but deal more damage. These cannot be aimed indefinitely as they will reset when the yellow bar is filled. The recurve bow makes the bow draw faster, and of course we have the basic straight stave. The grip can again be wrapped with either wood fabric or skin to minimize negative effects and increase drawing speed. Bow string can be made out of any fabric or skin. Now to the special section, riser. Firstly, sights. These increase the zoom when you draw your bow. Extended rest increase your multi-shot until 7. Crossbows! These are customizable in staves, stocks, string, and the stirrup. The last one improves the draw time. Swords. Again, normal customization, hilt binding, socket, and wrap binding. Fuller increases the integrity, reduces chance of the time to take damage, but makes the sword heavier. 4-finger grip adds more minimum damage if you swing too fast your sword. Wide guard adds more armor if held in main or offhand. For this, a metal plate can be used. Counterweight adds more attack speed. Grip loops increase the reach and sweeping reach. And now lastly to the blade itself. First you have short blades. These can be used for crafting, if you need a cutting knife, or offhand attacks. Machete is mainly used to cut down plants or cobwebs. Heavy blades will always sweep when the attack is fully charged, but it's slower. And lastly, the basic blade. Basically vanilla sword. Additionally, there are some options to modify the blade itself. Temper will ignore armor. Serrate will cause bleeding for 4 seconds with a 30% chance. This doesn't apply on undead. Carve hook will hit extra damage when enemies are hit from behind. Every of these will cost a bit of integrity. Shields. Shields are now divided into 3 different ones. Tower plates have no cooldown but use the most integrity. Heaters can only block for a limited time before cooldown. Bucklers plate give extra toughness but cannot be used for blocking. And again, you can modify the shield itself. Trim the edge, add studded plate, both increase durability. You can add a banner to your shield, or an aerodynamic trim, any metal, which allows you to throw your shield. Basic grips and straps increase integrity. A shield with straps is as well less taxing. Spike can damage enemies when blocking. Sturdy Boss allows you to bash into enemies. Toolbelts. This is a new equipment set added by Tetra. Firstly, you need to craft a rope from string. To upgrade your tool belt, you firstly need wool, then leather and iron for the buckle, and lastly sugar boxes. There are a few upgrades for the tool belt. Firstly, how many items you can store at once, which are the belt straps. Up to 4 is the maximum limit. To open your tool belt, press right click or press Alt B. With B you can quick select your items from your inventory. Shift B an item and it will be added to your inventory. One of the additional abilities can be the booster. It adds a booster effect if sneak jumping or double jumping in case you have gunpowder in your belt. It also replaces fireworks for the elytra, but has durability. The next one is for potion storing. Even though it can only hold very few different variants of potions, it can stack the ones of the same type, which is indeed very handy. The quiver is the same as the potion storing but for arrows. If combined with the quick latch found as loot, one can even automatically draw arrows out of the quiver. The storage pouch is the last upgrade. This can just store up to 2 rows of items. Special tools. A few parts you can get from the ancient runes can be used to craft special tools with specific abilities. Firstly, the earth piecer. It can break multiple layers of blocks. Add a light handle and you can even throw it. The stone cutter does the same, but is only limited to stone. If you enchant it with efficiency, it can also cut through more blocks at once. A crossbow with a high draw strength can shoot a chthonic extractor if you hold it in the offhand. Almost no damage, but high knockback. Add a chthonic extractor on the right side of a double-headed tool to increase the efficiency of your tool. In this section you can use a special item found within the runes, the planar stabilizer. It increases the velocity and damage by 100% if the bow is drawn fully. With the limb adjuster you can use 2 bolts to either increase or decrease draw time/strength of your bow. A hidden upgrade is if you add a planar stabilizer to your belt, quite expensive, but it allows you to float in air with a double jump if you're near the effect radius of a conduct or a beacon. Structures. If you want to move or break any blocks from the Tetra structures, you need a level 7 hammer enchanted with Silk Touch. This allows you to even move the Forge Hammer. Now to some handy things. If you place the chthonic extractor on bedrock and hammer it with an at least tier 4 hammer, you can reveal valuables in a circa 8 block radius by breaking the blocks. This process can be automated with a Forge Hammer and a redstone signal, but it consumes a lot of energy. From my point of view, it's not worth it. Just do it manually. If your extractor machinery runs out of fuel, get rid of the lava under it and find a seeping bedrock. This can be used for fuel, and place the extractor and the transfer unit on it, and you are able to charge once again your thermal cells. As you may notice, dormant seeping bedrock won't work for recharging, but it can be used to extract nearby ores, as this is even better for the chthonic extractor. Modules are basically every stat of your tool, meaning durability, damage and such. There are special schematics that are sold by villagers that increase the effectiveness of these modules upon crafting or modifying. These scrolls need to be placed near the crafting bench in order to function. These exist for every category from metal to bone or fabric. Check your holosphere to view the different categories. Schematics. One of the first schematics are sold by villagers. These are efficiency schematics and decrease the material use of its implement by 25%. They are available in hammer, cutting and axe. The next ones can be only found in dungeons. These unlock new sword types. Firstly, sturdy guard. These can block upcoming attacks or even projectiles. Throwing knives, which, well, guess what they can do, and howling blade allows you to swing your sword to create a turbulent field around you, indicated by the cloud symbol. This reflects projectiles fully. A very special hone is only available if you find the guild schematic. These need to be placed on top of the workbench in order to function. They allow you to increase your magic properties, which lets you add more enchants. Find these in fortresses and combine two of the same level to use it for the next tier honing. The last row of tools are war series. These allow you to modify any double head tools to adjust them for combat, adding even special abilities such as smashing. Even toolbelts can be changed so they improve their damage. So here are a few new traits. Claws can pry on armor, disabling 1 armor point for 12 seconds. This can stack. Regardless of the armor, hammers will always deal a certain amount of damage, and they can slam attack. This will knock back enemies away and stun them. Picks can puncture armor, dealing 100% damage, and reduce the target's armor by 40% for 30 seconds. Stack this attack to make the enemy bleed. It can also deal bonus damage if the armor of the enemy is below a certain amount. Battle axes can lunge at enemies. Guy's arm or also hose can overpower, which deal 130% damage but almost no knockback. This drains food and saturation. If the player's food bar isn't filled, one will be exhausted, reducing movement, attack and mining speed. Sickles can either hit all enemies in a 5-block radius for 100 weapon damage, or charge up a sweeping attack that deals out 75% damage. If an entity is killed, the cooldown is reduced by 40% and you can get 2 points of Absorb Shield. Battle axes can execute, dealing even more damage depending how much health of the target is missing. Finishing. You can salvage almost any of the ancient artifacts found in crates to gain different materials, even earth piecers or stone cutters. As well, flag smash can be used to craft chainmail, armor,